Welcome to the Single Father Podcast. I am your host, Kendall Doniker. This podcast is dedicated for anyone out there who's dealing with mental health and fatherhood. You'll hear about my struggles, my defeats, my victories, my highs, my lows, my triumphs, my tribulations, and everything in between. I like to call this a collection of journal entries into my struggle and adapting to single fatherhood. Without further ado, let's take a look inside my journal, the Single Father Podcast. The Justice League Snyder Cut is what it's called. It's coming out Wednesday, and I'm very excited. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a deep, deep fan of Superman, and I'm happy. I'm just happy because, DC, I'll tell you what, they've been letting me down with their movies. I'm not even really a huge Marvel fan, but I enjoy Marvel movies better than DC. I like the Joker. It was great. But the Justice League movie was trash. This one, I'm hoping it's much better, and I'm excited. It's 4 hours though. Do I really have 4 hours to spend? Yeah, I do. Well, I have a great episode. It's great because this woman, Cassidy, is truly amazing. I was on TikTok one day, kind of just scrolling through as you get lost on there, and I came across this video of her talking about maybe some affirmations or something like that. And it really resonated with me. I was like, oh my God, I feel better listening to you. So I checked out her page, and it's just tons of, helpful videos about affirmations, positivity, mindfulness, spirituality, fitness. I'm like, holy shit, this woman is amazing. So she had like a mindfulness program that she was just starting out, and I was like, hey, how do I get involved in this? Because listen, this is a mental health podcast, but it's really about me learning. A part of becoming a better father starts with becoming a better man, a better person, and part of that starts with taking care of yourself. So I hit her up, and I'm like, hey, how do I, let's get involved somehow. I want to learn from you. So she, sent me this program, and I think I'm her first customer, and first of many. This woman is going to go far. She's amazing. She knows what she's talking about, and you'll see in the or you'll hear on the podcast. She has really great, informative material, and she's so positive. And it's funny because I was just texting her earlier. We've actually become really good friends. We really hit it off right out the bat. Just our energies were matching, and she's a great person, and I support her all the way. And I'm happy to have her on the podcast because it's actually one of the more natural flowing conversations that I've had on here. I'm new to the podcast game. I don't really have it down perfect. Obviously these episodes, and it could be better. Speaking of that, if you want it to be better, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and give a subscribe button, like, share, please leave a review. It really helps, and I could deliver better quality. So yeah, I really like this episode. I really did. And I'm happy that I've made a new friend. I really do. I think I've made a new friend. And with quarantine, I don't have many. But we talk about life, relationships, mental health. She even walks us through some affirmations that are amazing. I think she's a great person. I really do. So yeah, and I'm happy. And this is really amazing for me, just being able to vent with people and share some stories that people might be too afraid to talk about. Um, me as a black young man who's a single father, I want to represent kind of the community of people who are too afraid to talk about their mental health. And think it's more of kind of like a taboo topic, or that men don't really talk about these things, because it's important. I'm so open and so willingness to share my story, and so happy to bring people on to share theirs. So I really think you guys are going to like this one. It's one of my favorites. I'm hoping she'll come on again. Yeah, I'm so happy. You know, thank you for letting me vent. All right. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm
Yeah,
excited.
you look great.
Oh, thank you. You do too.
Thank you. I'm having like a slight heart attack from my coffee right now.
Oh
But
no. Oh my gosh. Was it a big cup?
yeah, it was. Well, I'm always looking for like healthy. So I went to Whole Foods and I got like this really cool, supposedly cool, like coffee package. And it's like supposed to be packed with like these vitamins and things like that. But it's giving me a heart attack for sure.
Oh my gosh. I cannot relate. I drink so much caffeine all the time. It's not good for me at all, but like,
Yeah,
wow. Well, I'm crossing my fingers for you, man.
I know. Thank you. Hopefully I survive this podcast.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
Well, thank you for doing it. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to just be talking to you.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I'm super excited. Thank you for having me.
I'm excited actually because I'm a fan. Watching your stuff has been like really awesome. I'm not on TikTok a lot, but I when I'm on there, I like it's always nice to like when I'm come across videos that really catch my attention, and it's something different than what I'm used to watching, and because yours is really inspirational. Like, what when did you first blow up on TikTok? Because you have like you're pretty big on there.
Yeah, honestly, it was very, very recently. I think I started posting on TikTok like very beginning of 2021. So maybe the first like few weeks of January, which
Yeah,
what it's March now, so like a
yeah.
couple months ago or whatever. And the first couple of videos that did pretty good was my Wim Hof method series. I don't know if you've seen that, but I made a whole series about that, and those kind of started getting popular. And that's
Explain Wim Hof. What is that?
it's he's this guy named Wim Hof, and I read his book. It's called The Wim Hof Method, and it's basically a way to optimize your health, optimize just your own like potential kind of in like physical means and emotional means. And it's basically like his technique is like cold exposure and different breath work exercises and other mindset training stuff. And so yeah, I had posted like a little series about that on TikTok, and that's when it sort of blew up. And then I think it was like February, like mid-February was when I got my first 10,000 followers, and I was like, "Okay, I guess this is a platform I should really, like, be more
Yeah.
serious about and, start going with." So, it's kinda just grown from there, and, yeah, I'm very grateful for all the people that have supported me. I was not thinking I could, get that.
Has there been a lot of support? Like you've got like a lot of DMs and things from like that from people telling you like how much it helped and things like that?
Definitely. Yeah, it's crazy because yeah, I get DMs all the time now about like just people saying, "Hey, like this one video just made me a little happier today," or like helped me in
Mm.
this way or that way, and people are asking for advice and stuff. And so, to me, if like even just one person a week gets a little more like happiness or like I don't know, has a different perspective on life from what I can share, that's enough. But I honestly, yeah, I've been getting a lot of people that do enjoy and benefit from what I'm posting. So I think that's really awesome.
I think it's awesome too. And what I like about people like you is I think it's unique because I think everyone's looking for that like one video that like blows them up and makes them kind of like TikTok famous. But everyone's trying to do the same thing. I see it like when I see a trend, I see my timeline a million of the same trend, right? But
Yeah.
what I like about you is you're doing your own thing. It's unique. You blew up just by being unique, genuine, helpful. What made you want to do like inspiration instead of like the whole like dancing thing or some stuff like that?
Yeah. So first, thank you. Like it's cool that you, I guess, noticed that about my content and stuff.
Of course.
Well, first off, I didn't want to dance just because I can't dance. I work so stupid dancing. But
St. Mercury.
with other stuff, I guess I don't know. I just like I've been helped so much by the concepts I'm sharing about just overall like I share a lot of different concepts of overall wellness and like mental health and just sort of yeah, like motivating inspirational things and about positivity and meditation and all these different concepts. And it's just because those things have made the hugest impact in my life. And I feel like if I don't share that with other people, like I'm doing the world a disservice. Like I should just try to do that. And at first I, didn't know it would work out or if it wouldn't or whatever. And I was just like, well, I'd better try because this helped me so much. And if it can help one person, that's enough. So I felt
Absolutely.
sort of obligated to, but then it was also things I was really interested in. And I was like, that would be super cool if I could just like sort of make a living or even just have some type of presence on social media where I just talk about things that are interesting and that helped me. So,
So that's the thing that I'm most passionate about, and what I really have to congratulate on you about, and like I really respect you on is I am all for entrepreneurship in America, but I'm even more so inspired, I guess, by people who take an entrepreneurship idea and make it for helping people as well. Because as you know, I have a little bit of, I mean, this podcast is about mental health and kind of, my journey to become like a better person and things like that. But watching someone like you kind of having like an entrepreneurship and using that to better other people is so unbelievably inspiring to me. But you also mentioned that, it's something that has worked a lot for you in your life. So tell me about your backstory and kind of like how did this come into play? Like what made you want to inspire people? Where'd you get it from? Where'd you learn all these cool ideas? Because I'm one of those people where I watched your video
mhm.
and I had a little bit of a, smile. I had a kick in my day. I had a little pip to my step, as they say. You know what I
Yay.
mean? I was doing the dice roll walk down the street when I watched your video.
Hell yeah. That's
So tell me, where'd it come from?
So it was honestly like very recently, again, it was about a year ago. So I've struggled with like anxiety and depression in the past and stuff.
Mm,
And um, where this all kind of stemmed from is I was getting out of a relationship right when COVID hit. So it was about a year ago. And after that relationship ended, I realized like my anxiety was just through the roof. I was just, oh my gosh, feeling so just socially anxious all the time and just feeling lonely and like, okay, I got to do something about this. And it got to a point where I was like, I'm going to do anything I can to just not feel this way. And that's something I had struggled with for years and years in the past too, but it just kind of hit sort of a mountain, it was just like, oh my God, I
do you
cannot.
feel like it started because because it was beneficial for you guys to break up, or was it just, um, you missed the person? Like which was it?
So it was weird. That relationship was interesting because we were like literally like best friends as well. So it was not just, losing a romantic partner, but like a whole entire friend and like the person I felt the most comfortable around ever. But then it got to a point where we just weren't connecting on that level anymore. And we just like our lives weren't meshing up in the way they should,
Yeah.
and we're arguing a lot, all that kind of stuff. And so it turned kind of toxic, and I felt like I was losing my own independence. So
Yeah.
that part, I was very relieved to not have the relationship anymore because I was like,
Yeah.
I can finally find myself, be myself again, find people that I resonate with. And so that part was great. But then at the same time, like I said, that person was the person I felt the most comfortable with. And so after he wasn't in my life anymore, I was kind of like, oh my God, I don't have anyone else that I can like truly be myself around. And
Mm.
um, at the time, I was really struggling with just accepting myself with other people. I had friends that I was even really close to, but I still, just from my own sort of internal issues going on, felt like I couldn't express myself, couldn't really, really be me with them. And it wasn't on them at all. They're great people, still friends with them, whatever. But
Yeah.
um, so that part I think was the part that made me sort of realize like, oh my God, now that I'm not with this person, like I'm gonna eventually have to move on and like talk to other people and like make new conversations. And that was scaring the shit out of me. So I was like, all right, I got to do something about this. I just saw myself kind of going down a downward spiral, which I had been down before. And I was like, I need to stop this before, it gets worse and whatever. So I remembered I had taken a mindfulness class my first year in college. And at this point, it was right after my second year. So um, I remembered, okay, like we did some meditation and stuff. And I wasn't consistent with that, but I know it did help like relieve some stress when I was doing that. So that was the only thing I could think of. I was like, I've tried different medications, I've tried going to different therapists and stuff, which, I still highly would recommend to people and whatever. But I was like, I need to try something else because that was not working long term for me. And so that's when I picked up meditation again. And from there, I honestly just tried to learn more about psychology, about the mind, and I got introduced to different spiritual concepts of like the law of attraction. And that just literally like opened my whole perspective up to like, there's so much more out there. And like, I can be so powerful. Like, my mind can like be so powerful and literally do anything. And I have
You
that.
had your spiritual awakening.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. It was the first time I was like ever introduced to any of those topics because
Yeah.
it just opened my mind up to like, I'm a part of something bigger, and
Yeah.
there's more out there than these little issues I'm sort of dealing with. And there's a way out of them that I can like guide myself. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, honestly, that's what sort of started everything. I just started reading and watching videos and doing all this research on the mind and self development and spirituality. And that's when I was like, all right, I need to share this with the world.
When did you notice a change in yourself really? Like, because in my experience, I've tried much like you, many things to try to better myself. And then, I always say it's a journey, right? Because I've learned that it's not really a light switch because I'll start to feel amazing and I'll have this really great high. I'm on top of the world. I can do anything. And then I'll kind of fall a little bit. And then, it goes back and forth. But my main struggle with me is kind of keeping that high, like to kind of riding that wave and, staying in that positive mindset. So, I mean, how did it work out for you where you're like, okay, this is really working for me. I noticed a change in myself. And is it still something you work on today?
Yeah, so that's a really good point about it being a whole journey. Like, it's not linear. You're not going to just keep feeling better and better every single day. Like,
Yeah.
and I think it was, I don't know exactly when. I couldn't put like a date or time on it, but it was just, I think through just meditation practice, I was doing it, I don't know, on a regular basis every day for at least 5 to 10 minutes or so. And I just saw a lot of um, improvement in my overall stress levels. And that was the thing that was making me obviously very stressed, very overwhelmed, and whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think just over time, I realized that like I am improving, that I'm becoming more positive through just being mindful and trying to be in the present moment. Because that was the thing. I was so up in my mind, and I feel like a lot of people nowadays can, of course, relate to that. You're so
Yeah.
worried about the future or overthinking the past, like everywhere but here. That's where your
Mhm.
mind is. And I just saw a lot of improvement through just meditation alone on stress levels, positivity levels, and I think I had that realization a few months maybe into that practice where I was like, okay, I don't feel better every single day, but like that's okay because overall I'm increasing, I'm improving, I'm growing, and that's
Yeah.
really all that matters. And I think before any of this, before being aware of like where my mind was at and just the present moment, I would have felt so guilty about that. Like, oh, all this progress was for nothing, like on a day where, you don't feel that good or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think just over time, I realized like literally everything changes. You're going to feel good sometimes, you're going to feel bad sometimes. And to just accept that and move forward instead of letting yourself be dragged down by the past of like,
Yeah.
feeling good or bad one day and not the next. So, um, that's a super important concept that you brought up about like it is a journey. Like it's supposed to just be an experience and you learn along the way. And sometimes you need to learn something 10 times before you really implement it and live that way. So,
That is very true. In fact, actually, someone at my work one time, I remember I was going through a really kind of like depressive state in my life.
mhm.
I'm telling my coworker, I'm like, man, I can barely get out of bed. And he said something to me that sounds so insignificant, but it made such a big impact in my life. It was like, make your bed in the morning. And
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, okay. Clearly, you have no help for me at all. Because I'm like, what kind of? But then I started to do that. I was, I made my bed in the morning, And that was just a small, but kind of the gratification that I needed in my day to kind of, okay, I'm up. Now what? You know what I mean? Now maybe I'll work in making breakfast this time or going to the gym. And then before you know it, I had like a whole routine that I set out for myself. And then it would only be these periodic moments where I'm like, oh, hey, I forgot I'm depressed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
No, oh my gosh, I love that because I was sort of the same way going through depression. And I don't know when I started doing the whole making my bed in the morning thing, but I think I read that somewhere. And
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds like such a stupid little thing, but it makes all the difference. Like you feel accomplished right when you wake up. You've done something, even if that
Yeah.
thing doesn't make a difference 5 years from now. Like it's going to with your mental health. So that,
Hmm.
that's awesome. I'm glad that small change made such a big difference and impact in your life. That's awesome.
It really did. And the whole spirituality aspect of it, like mindfulness and things like that too. It's funny. It actually came from my child's mother. So we have a 50-50 kind of situation with each other. And it's really, if anyone listened to my previous podcasts, it's something that I really struggle with because we get along, but we don't really like each other, if that makes sense. So we're like great co-parents. And
Yeah.
when we FaceTime and if I'm FaceTiming my daughter and we see each other in person, it's great. But it's such a surreal thing to like when you're kind of like the relationship thing. When you're done with someone, I can kind of move on normally and block someone, but I'm like forced to see her all the time and kind of relive kind of the same things that made us break up in the first place. And so it's kind of it's a really interesting aspect. And I'm not saying anything her and I haven't talked about before, but it's interesting because it's like I love you. You're my family member, but at the same time, if we didn't have our daughter, I probably would never talk to you again. But I was depressed for a little bit, and I thought she was so weird for a long time because she would always bring these crystals around me and um, talk about like spirituality, and I'm like, you are so weird, and I'm doing research on it because I'm like, what is my daughter learning over there? And I started to see like this stuff actually like makes sense to me.
Mhm.
Opening your mind up to new realities because I think, especially in America, we're so stuck into one certain belief and we think that's all there is. But there's so much more to life, just opening your mind and self care and taking care of yourself. And I mean, tell me a little bit about kind of your TikTok videos and what you really offer to people in kind of the mindfulness aspect. And I know I reached out to you, like, tell me what our program is and things like that too.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, no, that's a huge part of everything. Like I do talk about spirituality, of course, on social media. I kind of like add that into things and
Hmm.
whatever. But some people may not even know. Like I'm a very, very spiritual person, and but a lot of the concepts I talk about with mindfulness, even just the very, very practical, aspects of it, stem from this understanding of like we are so much more and that our mind literally has influence on the physical world and that we are these spiritual beings and we need to sort of understand like our inner selves, like our true soul in order for us to feel happy and like feel content. And so what I sort of do is introduce people to just the practical aspects of mindfulness, usually through different guided meditations and that kind of stuff. Um, and just really trying to teach people that like your mind creates your entire reality, your perspective creates your entire reality. Like I always think of like me and you even might like walk into the same place or experience the exact same thing, but we're both going to take away completely different ideas of that. And you may have really positive like experience with whatever that is. I may have the opposite reaction. And to realize that what we see in the world is just based on like our own internal state and our
Yeah.
own perception on everything and that can change. Like I used to see the world as like a bad scary place where everyone just treated me awful and everyone was mean and whatever, and I changed my perspective. Now I can see the beauty in the world and see positivity, and that doesn't take away from some negative stuff going on, I still recognize the problems that need to be fixed in this world. But that's the thing I want to share with people is, you can't have this happy, content life if all you're focusing on is negativity. Like that's just not going to happen, and that's not a fair way to live. And so, through the mindset coaching stuff I do, I try to introduce people to meditation, mindfulness. I introduce like different positivity concepts. So changing from a more, pessimistic way of looking at the world to more optimistic. And this can go really deep too. There are so many like very deep limiting beliefs that we have. And you sort of mentioned like society kind of like almost like conditioning us basically to have this
Right.
narrow view on the world. And um the fact is we can open ourselves up and like look at things from different ways and have a different view. And um so yeah, I do that through the mindset coaching, and that's like the program I'm sending to you and stuff is
Yeah.
about mindset. I have like affirmations and things which I just strongly agree with. I'm always pushing for affirmations even though they sound so stupid. It's like the more you repeat something to yourself, the more your subconscious mind will believe it.
Absolutely.
Even if you completely don't at first. And so I'm a huge advocate for that. And um, even just learning more about yourself, like through meditation, through journal prompts, just really trying to connect with who you are, because then you can move forward and be who you really are, which will be the happiest version of you. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, that was sort of all over the place, a little rant there, but
No, I love it, and it's so right. And by the way, to anyone listening, she has amazing affirmations. She's so great. Um,
yeah.
where do why do you think mental health is like so? It's like such a taboo. I mean, it's getting better, but it seems like to be a taboo topic that not a lot of people like to talk about. And I struggle with mental health, and clearly, I'm guessing you have as well. I mean, can you talk about some of your struggles with, depression and anxiety, and why you think it's important that we bring more light to that subject?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's a good question on why it's like not talked about as much. I think the most simple answer might just be like it's hard. Like it's hard to talk about, things that make you vulnerable. And um we're conditioned to just always put on a smile and fake
Yeah.
it to the world and whatever, even though our vulnerability is literally what creates the most power inside of us. We become empowered when we can just own up to who we are, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, and just share our stories with the world. And so that's another thing I just try to do on like social media, since that is definitely a platform that most of the time only shows the good, only shows people's highlight reels. And it's like, of course, I'm always trying to push positivity and empower people, but it's like also just sharing the hard stuff. Like life gets ugly and that's okay. And, I
Yeah.
want to really show like authenticity wherever I am. And so, um, yeah, so I had mentioned like I had struggled with anxiety and depression in the past. And I, I don't know, the first time I can really remember that this all sort of started, because before I was a very um, confident person. I was very happy all the time. I grew up in a very loving, caring family, and we had a very like balanced relationship with each other and stuff. So I was very fortunate for that. And it was early in high school when I got into this relationship with this guy, and he was just very manipulative. And of course, at the time, I was so naive. I was so young. I couldn't see, all the
It's not always where trauma starts, your first relationship.
yeah, no, honestly. Yeah, it's crazy looking back, like, how could I not have seen this stuff, But it's like when you're in that moment when you're so young and stupid and, like, you're just like, "Oh, this person must know what they're talking about. This is
Right.
normal," or whatever. Um And that's sort of the point where now looking back, I realize all of my anxiety and depression started because when I was in this relationship, this person would say things to me and act in certain ways that made me feel like being myself was not good enough and
Yeah.
that I was only worth my body. That was for sure the biggest thing that like sort of spiraled down all these other dangerous paths in high school. I was just, spiraled into other toxic relationships, even friendships and like sexual relationships and that kind of stuff. And um that's, yeah, I guess where a lot of my insecurity first started, and like body shaming myself and just, yeah, depressive, anxious thoughts. I thought I had to do certain things for people to like me instead of just being me and being okay, and
Yeah.
like realizing not everyone's gonna like you. That's okay. And
Yeah.
you know, um, and so that sort of continued throughout high school, but I definitely repressed those feelings. I was like, I don't have social anxiety. I don't have depression. Like
Right.
having fun, going and doing all these things that were not good for me. Well,
Absolutely.
I was sort of using just, yeah, dangerous kind of situations to distract myself from digging deep into my emotions and actually dealing with what I was feeling. So, um, it was in college when I really like noticed, okay, I need like help. I need to do something. It was my first year. I
Did
felt
you
like,
realize it, or did someone kind of make you realize it for you? Or
sort of both. Like my, I don't know, my parents and my friends all sort of knew what was going on. And,
so it
um,
was noticeable?
yeah, yeah. And so, um, I don't know, they would point things out to me, and that's when I, had gone to therapy for a little and that kind of stuff. And they would try to help in whatever ways they could, but I think at that time I was just, I wanted to be open, but I wasn't. I wasn't like ready for that help, even though of course I was suffering inside. No one would consciously choose to feel that way. But I think with even the love and support of the people around me, I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't need all this. Um, and then yeah, it was my first year in college was just awful mental health wise. I was just constantly like just in a, like, awful depression, awful anxiety. I didn't ever wanna, like, go out. I was living with 2 people in a dorm at the time, and, um, I've become really close with them now, but at the time, it literally felt like I just couldn't be me with them, and I didn't even wanna go out with people because I was so scared of making new connections and, talking with new people and that kind of stuff, and just, yeah, feeling down all the freaking time. And then it was my second year when I got into that most recent relationship that ended up obviously ending. And then all of this kind of
Mm.
positivity stuff sprouted from that. Um, and yeah, I guess that's sort of my very short backstory of mental health and whatever. I didn't want to go too into everything, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It was just,
If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has the tools to allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can I tell you something?
yeah,
We're a lot alike.
really.
So when I was in college, I struggled heavily. My first year,
Mhm.
struggled heavily with anxiety, and I'd have these, and obviously, I think you've had a panic attack before, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you have a panic attack, it's like the most uncomfortable thing in the world. You feel like you're dying, you can't breathe, and it was awful. And I'd get them literally like every other day when I was in college,
Wow.
and it would be awful. I mean, literally awful. And I smoked weed in high school, and there was like out of nowhere, there was one time I'm smoking weed, and I just have like the biggest panic attack ever in my life. And to this day, I cannot. I can't smoke anymore without having a panic. So I don't smoke. I can't smoke without having like a massive, horrible panic attack that makes me feel like I want to like call the ambulance on myself, like I'm dying. And
Wow.
it's hard to like get your mindset out of it. Like, hey, I know this is all in my head, but like it's so hard to like convince yourself out of that.
Mm.
And it was horrible for me. And it really stemmed from, I think, this bad relationship that I had, and that was really traumatic. And I don't think a lot of guys admit this, but I was feeling really vulnerable as well. So I was kind of not confident about myself, um, and after this relationship, I'm like, I don't know how to really connect with women, and and I felt kind of like lost to it all a little bit. And
Mm.
so I didn't really have a good father figure in my life to kind of tell me how to, go about that. So I thought like the only way, I'm in college, the only way I need to connect with women is by like going out and drinking and having sex and things like that. And, and so, and it really sucked because much like you, like I didn't know how to be myself around my friends because all my friends are like these athletes, football player, basketball players. And I mean, I don't want to say it's true, but some of the stereotypes is kind of true about like athletes and things like that. But it totally was not me, and I didn't want to be that person. And I felt like I was forcing myself to be that person because I felt like that's my worth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And and it really was unfortunate because I ruined a lot of relationships um just by acting a certain way that really wasn't me. It just almost was unintentional. And eventually I started getting really depressed, and I wanted to get on antidepressants, but that my doctor told me, hey, sometimes, with antidepressants, something's not working for, you lose your sexual arousal or something like that.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh, I can't do that. That's like a big no-go for me. And
Yeah.
um, so like really didn't get help for a long time. And because I don't know, I felt like if I lost the sex, then what am I good what am I good for a little bit, if that makes sense.
Right.
And I didn't feel like any woman would understand like, hey, I'm going through depression. Like instead of, I mean, TMI, but instead of saying, oh, I have whiskey dick, you're like, oh, I'm depressed, I'm sorry. I feel like that's so lame. Like, how do I don't know. I felt embarrassed, and so it was been a long time where I didn't get help, and I didn't see a counselor because I felt uncomfortable about opening myself up. And then it was around like when I was having when I found out I was having my daughter, I was like, all right, well, I really need to be a better man. I need to be something different. You know what I mean? Like I need to get help. And so I willed myself into having that motivation for my daughter to actually get help. And, um, I went on the antidepressants and I dealt with what I needed to deal with. And I got therapy, and again, most recently started getting myself into spirituality. And it's still, like I said, it's a journey. It's still something that I work on.
Mhm.
And, reaching out to you for the mindfulness is super helpful. But, I feel like we have different circumstances, but we're a lot alike. And I feel like people don't understand, like, yeah, I felt like I was the only one going through it at the time. And maybe you did as well. You know what I mean? And it's so nice to actually hear from somebody like, hey, even you're a different gender than I am. It's like, hey, it's so nice to hear that I wasn't alone going through what I'm going through. And there's people out there that are experiencing the same thing. And
Yeah.
so that's why it's nice to have people like you out there.
Yeah, no, thank you. And yeah, I think what you're doing is so important. Like you touched on a few different things, but just the fact that like in society, we say that it's not okay for men to show their emotions. And that is so toxic in just so many ways. And so I think it's really powerful that even though you struggled for a while, you eventually did get help and you are wanting to grow and learn and improve and stuff. And I just think that's really good. And the fact that you've made this podcast and working on the app and everything, like that's amazing. And I think it's very much needed in today's culture. And just, yeah, more people need to talk about this and have these sorts of conversations and just be open. Like, it's not really vulnerable to just be you. Like, it feels like it, but it's just we all go through this. And
Yeah,
yeah, I can definitely relate to the feeling of just, I knew other people had anxiety, had depression, but I was like, no one has it like me,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you realize like, wait, they do. Like we're
Yeah.
all going through it, and there's people that understand. So I just think that's so important and really awesome.
Yeah. I think it just matters, like you said, just wanting to be yourself. I used to get made fun of in high school because like, my dad, we moved all over with his job. So I lived I was born in Michigan. I lived in Washington State, New York, Arizona. I went to middle school in Nebraska,
Wow. All over the
and
place.
all over the place. But when I went from Nebraska to Vegas, it was a little different. I used to get made fun of because I speak really white. So quote unquote, so I would almost try to force myself to talk blacker to try to fit in with everyone else, and it felt uncomfortable to me because I'm like, oh, it's not that I talk, black or white. It's just like I'm myself. You know what I mean? And so there came a point where I'm like, I don't want to try to be something else that I'm not. Um, Kind of like yourself as well. You didn't want to do dancing videos on TikTok. You wanted to do something that's more of yourself. And
Yeah.
I think that's important, is to be in tune and be comfortable with who you are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's, I think all like sort of insecurity or any struggle really boils down to not accepting or loving yourself just as you are, and flaws and all, or what we perceive as flaws and stuff. Because yeah, like once I started like just accepting, like, okay, I different than these people, but that's okay. Like there's other people different from me and I still like them. They're still cool. That's what
Mhm.
makes us awesome, is we're unique. Like we're humans. We're all supposed to be a little different,
Absolutely.
offer something different to the world. So yeah, I think so much like stems from just not accepting ourselves and trying to fit in with the crowd when that's not what we're built to do. So
Mm.
um, that's a amazing realization that like you've had and stuff. Just like, yeah, I'm not like these people, but that's okay. I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah, 100%. So a couple more things I wanted to touch on is I was really impressed when I watched one of your TikTok videos about pharma, um,
Mm,
and Western medicine,
yep.
because uh, I'm actually someone who, like totally was a huge believer in Western medicine, and then I saw this story and I did some research and I actually took some um, you know, herbal medicine and some things like that for myself that made me feel better than what I was prescribed, if that makes sense. And so I'm definitely gonna plug everyone to follow your TikTok. But tell me a little bit about the pharma and things like that. Like I was really interested, and I just reiterate it for me.
Yeah. So I don't even know where to start. It's the big concept, but I love talking about it. So I'm excited. I think what opened me up to just something other than traditional Western medicine was um just about the mind and how like our thoughts create our reality, and how like you can just eat certain foods and become healthier. Like we aren't really told that. We're told to eat healthy, but no one actually gives us advice on how to do that. And just a lot of other stuff about the power of the mind. And I guess this may have started when I went vegan a couple years ago. I've been vegan for almost 3 years now.
Me
And
too.
oh, awesome. That's cool. Yay, love meeting new vegan people.
Yeah.
But I think that's when I realized like, okay, these the news sources and fast food companies are feeding us lies. Like these things are not good for us. Like, I won't go super in depth with all those statistics and all of that kind of stuff, but that's what opened my eyes to like, okay, milk, like we've all been told, it, helps make our bones stronger and stuff. And from the research I've done, it actually causes osteoporosis. It causes all of these health
Mm,
issues. And like meat is one of the biggest, um, factors of heart disease and cancer and diabetes and stuff in the Western world. And guess where we eat the most meat in the world? Right here. And
mm,
um, and then I just got sort of started questioning everything. And I was like, all right, so the commercials I'm seeing are saying meat's good for me, but all the research I'm done is saying the exact opposite. Why are they doing that? And then that kind of went into, well, the only way the pharmaceutical industry, which is such a profitable industry here, gets money is if we're sick. And they literally profit off of us not just being sick once, but staying sick. Um, and so that's, I wouldn't say I'm completely against Western medicine. It definitely has its place. It saved so many lives. If I get in an accident tomorrow, I'm going to a hospital and I'm going to get, help from Western doctors. I'm
Yeah.
worst um, in it for that type of stuff. But there's so much change that needs to be made because it's just a money making business. It just stems from people that literally don't care about our health, that just want money. And that industry and the agriculture industry, the government, all of that is just intertwined like crazy. And um, yeah, what I've found is just natural remedies that actually go to the root of the problem, not trying to cover up what's happening, like the pain we have, um, instead of just dulling our pain, which isn't good because that pain is telling us like something's out of balance and that's going to keep happening if we don't go to the root cause. And realizing that a lot of like Eastern medicine, Eastern traditions and doctors really want to help you and want to go to the root of the problem. And that's
Yeah.
what that whole science is based on. And yeah, they use natural things that come from the earth. And like we are part of nature. We forget that because we're in these houses that have technology and stuff, but like we're connected with the whole planet and animals and just everything. So it's sort of an like common sense to me now, especially after the research that like, of course, plants are going to help us feel the way
Yeah.
we should. Like these other weird man made supplements are not going to do that for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can go more in depth on that if you'd like me to, but that was kind of the gist of
No, no,
the video.
that's so. I think it's deep, honestly. Like it's kind of like your spiritual awakening a little bit, just like asking questions and opening your mind up to like what's really there. Kind of like what you said. We're told milk is helps our bones, and with further research, it kind of doesn't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it's deep, and I think it's important to really pay attention to what we're putting into our bodies and to what is also out there, because what we're told is the only medicine for you. It's not really the only thing available. There's so many other things we could take. Um, that's more natural or holistic, and I think that's so important too. It's cool you're vegan, by the way, because I
Yeah,
am.
you
And
do.
yeah. But have you heard of Dr. Sebi?
No, I don't think so. Who's that?
I'm not fully equipped to like go in depth on it and explain it, but we'll talk about it. I'll send you a link. But
Okay.
this holistic doctor. I think he was in India, but he's super popular for presumably like curing a lot of the diseases out there, like cancer or blindness. And I mean, it's so interesting because people would sue him for claiming these things, and he actually went to court and brought evidence of his claims about his holistic medicines that cure these type of things, and he won. He
Wow.
won a court case, and there's suspicious circumstances on how he died. Um,
Mhm.
and we can talk about it offline, but it's super interesting because I think there are maybe even cures out there, but they want us to kind of stay sick because it makes money. But
Yeah.
I it's really interesting when you open your mind up to those sort of things, and I think it's important. So
No, yeah, I agree. No, I'm really interested in that guy now because yeah, he sounds very interesting. That's awesome. And that's the thing I've realized is like, I've come across cures to cancer so many times now from doing research like this. And it's like,
mhm.
the only reason it's not mainstream is because we've been so conditioned to believe a certain thing that even if the evidence is out there, even if I sat down with someone, gave them 10 different statistics, said this will work, like they would just be like, I don't think
Nah. Yeah,
and just
exactly.
throw it under the rug. Like, are you not going to just try? Like, this doesn't have any side effects negatively. It just has not having cancer, not having heart disease.
Exactly.
Like, that's the only side effect. Are you really not going to try? And that, oh my gosh, it frustrates me, but it's like I realized just from this, like I wasn't aware of this before I started researching it and before I was open to it. So the fact that we have these social media platforms now where information, yes, it's like information overload and whatever, but you can put that stuff out there and open people's minds up. And I think the more you talk about things, the more aware people come and the more possibility is out there for people. And that's how it was for me, before even going vegan. I had for years sort of been against veganism. I was like, I don't understand this. Why would I do that? And then just from seeing more and more, like it became more common in my life, then I was like, oh, this makes sense. And then I did my own research. So I think it's important to just talk about this stuff, put the information out there because there's so much, like, we have so much more power just within ourselves and our bodies. Like, we
Yeah,
can literally do anything, but everyone wants us to think like we're just these little controlled people that don't have much power. Our lives, we just, we get born and then we die and that's it. Like, we're so much more than that. And
absolutely.
yeah.
I now love you because I think you're amazing. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think it's well, where I really got brought up to me is with COVID, where I started caring about health like so much more because everyone's just so Well, have you ever had COVID?
No, no,
No.
thankfully not.
Yeah,
Have you?
I have, and so I'm an open person. So embarrassing story. The, how I found out I had COVID is, um, I had a, I was how do I say it? I was having sex with this girl and I
Mhm.
passed out.
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. I,
Oh my God.
I I literally like passed out and I'm like, what the fuck? And I went to this doctor like you have COVID.
That's awful. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
sort of hilarious, but I could understand that would be,
Oh, it was hilarious and mortifying at the same
yeah,
time.
it's, oh my gosh. Looking back, it's a little better, I guess.
Yeah, looking back, yeah, now that I haven't talked to her in a while.
Yeah.
But
That's so funny. I could imagine just in that moment. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
yeah, it was yeah, I'll tell you about it offline, but it was funny. But yeah, I started really caring about just like what I put in my body a lot more, and that's where I decided to go vegan and really did some research on like one thing I'm super passionate about, like more than any like besides climate change is one of my biggest passions, but uh I was fascinated. And I did a ton of research, and I wrote an article about like why healthy food is so much more expensive
Mm.
than eating unhealthy. And you start to do like research on this, and there's a ton more McDonald's and Wendy's and like horrible like rundown neighborhoods and things like that, and they put it there for purposely for a reason, and then they upcharge the price on healthy foods, and it's kind of disturbing just because like, hey, if I'm a single mother and I have kids and I just got off work, what am I really going to do? Am I going to go to Whole Foods and spend a ton of money there, or am I going to go to McDonald's and feed my family
Yeah.
for days on a dollar menu? And it's unfortunate, it really is. And I'm super big on, I think the ultimate reason is just because maybe you just can't have everyone living forever. But um I think it's almost like a crime. You know what I mean?
It
It's
is.
I
Yeah.
hate it.
Yeah. No, that's, oh my gosh, a super good point. And there's so many just awful things. Like once you go down that rabbit hole, it's like you find out all this stuff and like, yeah, there's more McDonald's, Wendy's, all that stuff in like low income neighborhoods. And it's like, why don't they have access to the same things other neighborhoods do? Like,
Right.
we're all freaking human. We all deserve to literally be healthy. Like, that's, yeah, like you said, like a basic sort of human right just to at least have the access to, food that's affordable. That
Yeah, at least have the access to
right
it.
instead of give us cancer. Like.
Exactly. I don't know. It sucks because even feeding my daughter, I'm like, damn. I went to Whole Foods the other day, and I'm like, you are. I mean, she's already expensive, but even more so, I'm trying to keep her healthy. And so I was like, man. So, but what I really wanted to ask you is, you have all these social media platforms. What I know you spoke on it a little bit, but this coaching that you're doing, what really made you want to start coaching people? And how's the program looking? When are you ready to bring people on officially? I know I kind of, forced forced you to take me on immediately, but because I was so impressed by you. And I think you're great, and I want people to know, how to get in touch with you for these types of things, and um, what does it look like, and what kind of made you want to what compelled you to be like, okay, now I can coach people.
Yeah, I mean, I think just honestly the fact that
Basically asking why you're the GOAT.
yeah, honestly, oh my gosh. No, like, I think just because all these concepts have helped me so much, and I've always, since I was little, like, had the mindset of, like, "I'm gonna work for myself. I wanna be an entrepreneur, like, I wanna do something on my own." Like, I just wanna be independent, like, do my own thing, whatever. So,
Yep.
um, I, for a while, had this sort of dream of opening a vegan restaurant, and I still wanna do that in the future, but, that was sort of down the line I was
I'll
headed.
be an investor.
Yes, please. No, that would be awesome. We could be in partnership, make vegan food together or something.
Love it.
But I don't know, so I was down that line kind of, and then I obviously was struggling with mental health. I found all these resources that helped me, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, a vegan restaurant's cool and all, but that's gonna take a lot more than the resources I have at this moment, like monetarily and, just even the space, the time, whatever. And I've always loved like giving people advice and talking to people and just being open and literally just talking about concepts that interest me. I've always been sort of like I don't know, like having like deep conversations with people and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's what made me start sharing those concepts on social media because I was like, well, this is a platform like that I can do that with people. And so yeah, I guess I just started wanting to inspire and coach people through there. And there wasn't really a moment where I was like I still don't sometimes feel qualified to coach. Like there's still times where I'm like, do I even know what I'm talking about? But then I'm like, no, I have gone through this on my own journey. And, I'm not sitting here pretending to be some psychologist. Like, I don't have a degree in that. I do have a fitness certification. Like, I'm a fitness coach as well. So that's, one thing I have. But I'm like, if my content can help people that I put out for free, then like I can put together programs. And if they want to buy it and they want to see if they can progress their own learning about all this that I'm sharing, then that's amazing. And I would love to put that out. So, um, yeah, right now I'm a few weeks out probably, maybe only, yeah, about like 2 weeks out from the full mindset program. That's my first like fully mindset one. The other programs I have available right now are fitness and mindset. So everything I always put out is definitely going to be like mindset training because like, it's great to be healthy and fit, and I think that's a really important philosophy in my life, but
Mm.
nothing matters if you're not mentally there, if you're not healthy in your mind, and if you aren't happy, So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, so it should be a couple weeks till the mindset program goes out, and like I said, that just happens to go with mindfulness, meditation, affirmations, journaling. And I'm also putting just other informational videos out there to just try to open people's minds up, educate them on things that have helped me as well. And um, yeah, all of this stuff people can find on my social media platforms. I have the links to everything in my bios. So, like on Instagram, the Fit Vegan 44, and then on TikTok, it's Cassie Erica. Cassie with a K and one K in Erica. Always have to say that. And yeah, I have the links to all my other social media platforms on those bios and my website on there. And the reason I'm not saying my exact website here is because I might change the domain soon. So I don't want to like put that out.
Gotcha.
You can, yeah, I have all the links to everything from all my social medias. Like if you just go on one, you can see everything and all my services and programs that I offer. And yeah, I'm just really excited to share the mindset stuff with everyone. And I'm excited that you're my first customer on this new program. Like, that's so
Me
cool.
too. And by the way, I tried some of your affirmations, your journal prompts, looked a lot at your YouTube videos, and let me just say that you're just as good as any psychologist out there. Like you are amazing. And it really helps. I really feel better, and feel like it's worth the money, it's worth my time, and it's really worth doing. And when you put in the work within yourself, then everything just falls into place. And you are great at fitting those all together. And yeah, I mean, I even did some of your workouts this morning. You posted one on Instagram, I think, and I did one because got to make sure I'm not going to dad bod range. So
Well, thank you so I appreciate that so much. I'm so glad that anyone can like resonate with the content I put out. Anyone can benefit from it because that's all, the reason I do what I do and why I wanted to share this to help people. Like doesn't matter if it's helped me if it can't help others. And so
absolutely.
that's I'm so glad. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you. All this I think helps me become a better person, a better father. Um, I feel like I made a friend with you, so this is
Yes.
great.
Yes. I'm
Absolutely.
excited to just, yeah, talk more, get to know you more and everything. And I do have to say just one more thing. Like, it's amazing how much like love you show on social media with your daughter and everything. Like, I just absolutely love just seeing that. Like,
Thank
I don't know, it just brings me happiness when like you're posting all about her and just how much you care. And I just think that's so sweet and amazing. And yeah, just wanted to say that.
She's thank you, by the way. She's my joy. She really is. I have never felt, I mean, parents say it all the time, but I've never felt such love in my life. It just She is everything to me. And being a single dad, I'll tell you, it's no joke. It's hard.
I
You
could
know,
just imagine, but
she
wow,
gives me some attitude.
honestly.
Thank you. Yeah, she's great. She's my partner in crime, and I'm just really happy to have her in my life. So even I told her to I told her to pick up some. Well, I told her to pick up something the other day, and she yelled at me,
Oh no.
and but she like crossed her arms and glared at me, and I thought it was so cute that I didn't yell at her back, and so I just said, "All right, go on your way." But yeah, so
Happy.
oh yeah, yeah, she is. You'll get to meet her one time, and yeah, she's pretty sassy.
Yes.
But let's do some affirmations together. Hit me with some affirmations. I want my listeners. I feel like they're ready to hear it from you.
Yes,
Uh,
let's do it. Let me find I have 10 prepared right now that I think are really good. They're just positive, help me start my day out
mm,
right. And um so the thing with affirmations, I just want to kind of say before is like they're just there as like repetition for you to try to believe something that you may or may not believe at the moment, but the more you repeat it, the more it's going to be set in your subconscious mind, which is the part of your mind that really controls your life, controls your feelings and belief systems. And so you can do affirmations in all different types of ways. I like listening to them. There's tons of YouTube videos. I make YouTube videos with affirmations. You can write them down, recite them. Sometimes it's fun to like look at yourself in the mirror and recite them too, because
oh yeah,
you just like, yes, I'm so strong and great and whatever. But yeah, so what I'll do, I guess, is like I do in a lot of my YouTube videos, is I'll say the affirmation and then leave some time in between for like whoever listening to recite it to themselves out loud or in their mind or whatever. So yeah, let's get them. I'm excited.
let's do it.
All right, so I accept and love myself exactly the way I am. Everything always works out for me. I love that one because it's just
Mm,
yes, like everything
mm,
always working in my favor. I choose to see the good in every situation. I express my emotions freely.
mm.
I have all that I need to be happy and at peace. I am grateful for my body and all its amazing capabilities. And I love doing affirmation, just a side note here, for things that we just take for granted most of
Yeah,
the time. We have bodies that can like walk and breathe and eat and do things. And like we sometimes just take those for granted. So I think it's really good to do affirmations like that.
gotta
Uh,
love your body.
yeah, exactly. I see every challenge as an opportunity for growth. Sometimes I'm not okay, and that's okay. I am so abundant and prosperous in every area of life. And last but not least, I am so strong and trust myself to conquer anything this day brings.
Woo! Mm,
Yeah. So obviously you can like, cater the affirmations to whatever you're feeling, whatever you want to feel, whatever. But I don't know. I came up with those 10 because those are ones that I repeat to myself all the time, and I just think are really powerful and good to like start your day off. And yeah, so I love doing those
absolutely.
before bed at night or right in the morning. Those are the two best times to do them. So yeah.
Honestly, Cassidy, you are amazing. Um, I love you. Those were great affirmations. I feel inspired. I feel happy. I feel like a better person speaking to you.
Oh,
That's yeah.
that makes
I'm
me so happy. I love talking to you too. I feel like this is just an easy conversation and like, I don't know, you opened my mind up to things too. And it's cool. Yeah, I love it.
great. I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. I I don't know. I really love helping people too. I really do. And I'm like a really open guy, and I like meeting great people like you, and I'm happy. I hope that you'll be on the show again. Yeah.
I would love to. Yes, that'd be
All right.
amazing.
I'm gonna count on it.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so very much. I'll shoot you a text shortly after this, but I'm really happy, and yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Anything you want to say? Any helpful tips? By the way, I will say that you are really helping people because I'm going to do a little preview of the show, and I think anyone, and I'm not just saying it, but having someone so beautiful like yourself actually being vulnerable and saying, "Hey, gorgeous models like yourself even go through problems too, and it's okay to not be okay," as you said, just like that affirmation. And I'm really happy, and I feel so excited that people are going to listen to this and get inspired by you. So anything you want to leave the people with?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, I think mental health is something like we're all the same with, it doesn't just happen to some people and not others. Like we all go through it. So why not all talk about it and stuff? I think the biggest thing, well, I guess two things I want to kind of say is the most important thing I always tell anyone is to develop a consistent mindfulness practice. So trying to do formal meditation practices or yoga, qigong, like that kind of stuff. And then also just everyday mindfulness. Um, I have obviously a lot of content on that and whatever, but I think that is just so important for getting to know yourself and for stress relief, which we all need in this society. Like we all need to be, destimulated a little bit. Like our just brains are always going. And so
Yeah.
that's always the first thing I tell anyone, like develop a mindfulness practice. That is the best thing you could do for yourself, for your physical body, for your emotional health, like everything. And then just I guess a piece of little like inspiration and stuff is just like, you are so powerful. Like, your mind can do anything. And, um, there's a lot of science behind this concept, but just our beliefs literally create our limitations or possibilities. Whatever you believe in, it will come true if you truly believe in it. And that's been the most powerful thing for me is realizing like everything I want is already out there and that I have the power within me and my own mind to do anything. Like I have this belief system now that legitimately anything is possible, even defying laws of physics, like anything is possible. And um, yeah, I guess I just want to leave people with that it's your own beliefs that make your whole reality and you really have so much more power just within your own thoughts to do anything you want, like don't
Yeah.
give up.
Wow. I feel like I just went to church. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thank you, Cassidy. I appreciate you. This was amazing. Yeah.
Yes, it was. I appreciate
Good
this
for you.
so much and just for all your support and for what you're doing too on here. This is amazing, so thank you so much for having me and for this amazing conversation. I did really enjoy it and I would love to do it again sometime.
Thank you. Thank you for venting with me. I appreciate
Yes,
you.
I love it.
Talk to you soon.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye bye. Well, that was lovely. Do you agree? I loved it. I need a co-host because you know what's funny? When I say, "Do you agree?" I looked off to the side like someone was there. There's no one here. There's no one ever there. That's what my doctor tells me. There's no one there, Kendall. Stop talking to yourself. I'm just kidding. That's not what she really said. um, yeah, that was a great episode. I had so much fun speaking with her, and as you can see, she has a ton of information. And really, anyone who's looking to kind of better themselves in that way, reach out to her because it really is helpful. I was doing some journal prompts earlier. I was telling myself in the mirror, "You're great. You're beautiful, baby. Work it, baby." You know, I was in the mirror, kind of just hyping myself up. I loved it, and I love what she brings to the table and what she allows me to bring to the table for myself. That's what's important. Loved it. So, and I want to thank her for being on the show. And I know I keep saying it. I had someone write into me, "Hey, you've been saying that your app is coming the last like forever now, last decade." Well, hey, it takes a minute. It takes forever. It really does. A big building an app is no, unless you got money, which like, you know, I have a daughter, so it's like, hey, what do I really spend my money on? My, baby food or an app? And I'm gonna spend it on my girl. Although I'll tell you what I did send. It's kind of funny. I saw this video on Shark Tank once, and this guy's like, "Hey, I'm having troubles with my girlfriend. She's telling me that I have to choose between her or my dream. Each one takes up my time. I'm kind of struggling what to do." And he asked Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank. He's like, "What do I do, man?" And he's like, "Well, which one's more easily replaceable? Your dream or your girl?" And I was dying. But obviously, my daughter's irreplaceable. So, but that's why I don't have a girlfriend. That's why it's called the Single Father Podcast, because all my money's going towards my app. So anyone who's asking me about my app, it's coming. It's called VentPack. The mental health app that I'm bringing straight to you guys. But the deal is, I wanted to do this podcast in the meantime to kind of express. I wanted to. The app is taking a long time, but I wanted to express myself and give a little bit of the app to you guys in my own personal journal here. And I wanted to, just help people in some way. I'm getting my master's in psychology right now, and everything's kind of, coming together. This is my dream. So I'm happy I get to share it with all of you. So the app is on its way. I have a new website up. It's called ventpack.org. Please check it out. Nothing, too special on there other than it's just a way for me to keep you guys informed. So yeah, follow us on, VentPack Journal on Instagram. I have Facebook and Twitter, and those things are going to get worked out pretty soon here. And building a business is tough work, but it's something that I'm so happy and grateful and passionate to bring to all of you. VentPack is my baby. It's my dream. It's so important to me. And, it's something that I want to share with my daughter as well, just to make sure that she sees that even men are vulnerable. Even men wear pink. You know what I mean? So yeah, this was a great episode. I loved it. I also want to give a shout out to Dear Fathers on Instagram, dear.fathers. Amazing people, kind of, supporting Black, African American fathers out there who are focused on their journey with fatherhood. I recently shared my story with them, and I believe that story will be published on their website. So please look for that and check it out. I shared my story as a single father, and please check out their website as well, which is it's called Beyond Fatherhood, and it focuses on talking to fathers who are also single about their dating experiences and relationships to raising their kids. So it's amazing. Hopefully I'll be on there soon as well. Love those guys. Hopefully I can have them be a sponsor on the show. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. If you're listening, dear fathers, that'll be the next title of my episode. It actually might be. But yeah, I had a great time with all of you. Um, thank you. Thank you for listening. Because I'd like to think that we're in this together. We're a pack. It's called venting. You know, I vent to my pack of people who have my back. I'd like to think that everyone listening is a supporter of mental health in some way, and I hope and pray that at least one of my episodes, if not the whole damn podcast, gives you some type of indication that you're not alone. We're a pack, VentPack. All right. That's all I got. You know, thank you for. Oh, by the way, there's this guy. It's so funny. This guy came to my house today with flowers. I might have him on the episode. This guy came to my house with flowers. I opened the door and he was like, "Oh," I'm like, what? Can I help you?" And he's like, "Oh, is Jessica around?" And I'm like, "Oh, dude, you have the wrong house." And he took like a deep breath. He's like, "Oh, thank God." You know, I'm like, "What's going on, man?" He's like, I was looking for Jessica. I she's my ex, and I guess I have the wrong place. I thought you were her new boyfriend or something. I was about to panic. And I'm like, first of all, you know, your relationship really wasn't. I can already tell why she's your ex. You don't even know where she lived. But yeah, that guy was going through something. It was such an awkward experience. I kept the flowers though. The flowers are in my kitchen. They were lovely. My daughter was just, you know, admiring them today. I said, "You know, it's okay, man. I'll point you in the right direction, but you know, that apartment number is over there. But I'm gonna need to keep the flowers." So I kept them. But yeah. Thank you for letting me vent, guys. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, share, leave a review. Let's vent together soon.